So are we done with Camelot? Are we done with John F. Kennedy and Jacqueline Kennedy and that whole narrative? We've milked that cow to death now? We're done? We're good? So anybody that was around for that generation, the greatest generation, the baby boomers, they're pretty much either gone or fading away. So we're done with that cow. So now the next cow we got to milk is this new adaptation of this family, which is now called Love Story about John F. Kennedy Jr. and Carolyn. That's what we're going with it right now. Okay, let's get into it. Hello, my name is Lena, and welcome to my channel if you're new. And if you're not, you know what? Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. For those who are not subscribed and you're still on the fence, I hope you do reconsider subscribing. And if you're new to my channel, I bring value to this, subscribe. I would really love for everyone to join my community. I have a lot more context coming out. I do a lot of other shows, and I am getting into now this series from someone, let's start off with the bat, Ryan Murphy production, which I don't hold too much weight because of this one show. I reviewed it. I watched it. It's a train wreck and I hate it. So going into this already, I didn't have too much faith in the production value of it. And I can tell you, let's get into a little bit of context of the history of what I know and how it affected me growing up in New York City with John F. Kennedy Jr., all over New York. So he was born in 1960 and I was born in 1969. So he was about 9 years older than I was. So I was not around when his father was assassinated. Our president, John F. Kennedy, he was assassinated in 1963. But we learned about it in our history class, and there was always the newsreel on or some sort of adaptation of a documentary or whatever it was, where John F. Kennedy Jr. was saluting his father as his casket was passing by the great state funeral. So that was always ingrained in my mind. And I followed more the John F. Kennedy, Jacqueline Onassis biographies, storytelling. It was just something that was very interesting and sad. And growing up, when, they would have the adaptations of whatever version it was on television, I remember 69, 70, 80s, there was no streaming, there was no cable, there was only 4 networks, ABC, NBC, CBS, and for us, WPIX, and then there was PBS. And there was no remote control, and we had one television in the house, so whatever my mother had on is what we were watching. Literally. And she grew up with that genre, that era. So if it was on, we watched it. So that's how I started to get into more biographies or adaptations or unauthorized biographies, because there was always something like that on television in one of those channels. So I wouldn't say I religiously followed all of them. I thought I saw many, as many as they were, as far as any kind of, information on them. I asked Google the other day, how many TV shows, films, adaptations, unauthorized biographies are there about John F. Kennedy and Jacqueline Kennedy? Are there? And it literally spit out that there's over 100. And I know I haven't watched over 100. I watched a majority of them. Just the other day, I was watching The Kennedys with Greg Kinnear as John F. Kennedy. I've watched the Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis. She married, Aristotle Onassis. So I thought I had a good grasp of their history when I was watching it. And it never dawned on me that even though it does say it is fictionalized for dramatical purposes, it never really dawned on me why that was until I was able to really understand more as I started getting older, that a lot of the information that you're watching is fictionalized because a lot of it is personal conversations between people that, other than if you had a recording of it or you were there and you have a video of it, you really don't know what was said, right? And even if somebody was there and they say, I was there, do you really trust what anybody really says? Because a lot of people make shit up, as you know. Okay. We live in a world that Now we don't trust anything we see on television or YouTube or AI or whatever the hell is going on. Back then, it wasn't really that prominent. You just kind of took it as it was. So watching this show, I think didn't come at the right time, at least for me. It doesn't hit me the same way watching even unauthorized biographies anymore, because I am so disheartened with all of the misinformation that's out there, all the things that people make up just to make shit up. And you really don't know what happens between people when they're in their own personal space, which is a lot that happens in this show series, right? And now that we've moved out of Camelot and we've milked that cow to death, now we're going to have to deal with this new adaptation of who we affectionately called John John, which is John F. Kennedy Jr., who most maybe don't know that he was called John John. And I'm watching this and I'm like, yeah, I'm done. And I don't know if I'm done with all unauthorized biographies, but just in general, this thing was boring. I don't really know what's truthful, what's not. They plug in different parts of what we know as far as how we received it back then. So back then, we didn't have the internet as we know now, streaming services. We didn't have followings as far as Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. There was no such thing. Everything was compartmentalized. Okay. So you got your majority of information by various ways, which was the newspapers. Newspapers were huge. Okay. You had it through maybe entertainment news, which was Entertainment Tonight. And I just heard that Access Hollywood was just canceled, which is kind of striking. And or the news itself, if it played a segment of something that happened. And that's pretty much how you did it, right? You pass a newsstand, which were everywhere, and you can make a decision whether you wanted to pick up the newspaper or not. You had a choice. You did not have to read or discuss it. You probably would want to, because the majority of people were like, oh my God, did you see what was on the headline news today? Did you see what was in the New York Times, the New York Post, the Daily News? So even if you didn't want to read it, you kind of heard it, especially if around the water cooler in the office. It was everywhere. And I'm not just talking about John John. I'm talking about the news in general. So let's get to John John. John John, being that he was 9 years older than I was, I wasn't religiously following him. I do remember the pivotal parts of his life being splashed all over the newspaper and the news. I do remember him not passing the bar twice. That was all over the place. I do remember him always being in Central Park. And I'm going to tell you right now, I was too young to be in Central Park. But if I could have been old enough, I would have parked the tent and I would have stayed there until I saw him, because that man was gorgeous, in my opinion. And I know a lot of people share that. I would have loved to have been able to see that man in person, to see what he looked like, because I never got to see him in person, only in TV, news, newspaper. Okay. I did find it very interesting, even back then, that for someone of his title, in the sense that he was the son of John F. Kennedy, I never saw him with bodyguards and security. Like, it was weird. He was running freely around New York City, whether it's rollerblading, bicycling, all that depiction in the show was pretty true. He was really a New Yorker, and he was always going to his mom's, penthouse apartment on 1040, I think, Park Avenue. I do remember when his mom passed away and what his statement, what he made, that all, and it's because we have some sort of record of it. I can understand the parts of it that they're trying to relate to us in the series. What was striking to me is I didn't remember him being with Daryl Hannah at all. I do know who she is. Remember the movie Splash and maybe two other films that I remember him, but I never followed her very greatly. I didn't realize they were in a 5-year relationship. I would love to understand why the hell they want to piss her off. Because this woman that's playing her on the series doesn't even remotely resemble her at all, in my opinion. Okay. And I don't know her life enough. I just know that she is bat crap mad. And I don't blame her, because if I had to sit there and watch somebody parroting me and I wasn't even asked to be even considered what was my take in my relationship with this man, but you went ahead and you decided to put in all this information without even asking me, and the way that she's depicting her, it's pretty sullen. It's pretty bad. And I don't blame her for being pissed off at all. I don't blame her. I believe, John F. Kennedy's sister, Caroline. I always get either Caroline or Carolyn. I'm sorry. The sister is upset, but they haven't made a formal statement, but her son, Schlossberg, the last name, is upset as well, that they're not happy with this rendition of their family. Okay. I've heard this many times before. When you do unauthorized biographies, people get pissed off, and I generally do understand that. So going into this already, I'm like, yeah, okay. And the part that doesn't really resonate with me mostly, it's just, it's boring. It's kind of striking to me that his dad passed away at 43 and John passed at 38. He didn't even make it past his father. Okay. The tragedy was horrible. I remember the tragedy itself. I remember where I was when I heard it. It's like there's certain parts of your life where certain events happen, you remember where you are. I was watching television on my bed with my son. He was very young. And the first thing I remember hearing when I heard that the plane was missing and the body was found, I was said to myself, my God, this family has no luck. If it wasn't for bad luck, they have no luck. That was my first reaction. I was like, no freaking way. Okay. And then my second reaction was, thank God his mother wasn't alive. She passed away 5 years before this happened. I couldn't imagine what she what it would have done to her. Losing her child, named after her husband, and everything that she did thereafter. And then my third reaction was, wow. That was my third. I was like, wow. Because when you get the full understanding of what this was, like, there was just so much information coming at everybody. And it's like, oh my God, I'm sorry to say, but was he murdered? Because that's the first thing that came out of me. I was like, my God, was he killed? What is wrong with his family? So what I did find striking is that, I'm going to be honest with you, I don't have too much memory of Carolyn and the relationship. I kind of sort of remember the wedding picture on the newspaper. I kind of remember Bumgate when he was fixing her thong and that, but I didn't know she worked for Calvin Klein. I never really followed them in that way. Like once I heard, I was not interested. The reality is that I had a life, and because I had a choice, like most of us did, I didn't have to follow them. Like I didn't have to put on, every internet service we have now and get bombarded with every piece of information there is about anyone that even sneezes the wrong way. It was a beautiful time. I miss those days. Options. Now, if they were alive now, oh my God, I can't imagine. I can't, well, I can, because look what's happening now. Every celebrity is out there. It's insane. The amount of stuff that we get fed to us is insane. Have you been out there? I know you have. So I cannot take this show seriously. Why? Because there's way too many filler information. I don't want to know what this production company thought they would have said in personal times, in their time of their, when they were together. And there's a lot of that there. So I'm just watching what they want to think that they said. And I don't want to do it anymore. I think that we've come so far knowing deceit and how to be aware of it, that this kind of dramedy or whatever the hell you want to call it, it doesn't resonate with me anymore. Now that I go back and watch some of the other unauthorized biographies, I feel the same way too. Because unless, like I said, you were physically there and you have a recording, because even when people are physically there and even with people who write their memoirs, we really don't know the truth. Because people leave things out or they make shit up, even in their own memoirs. And unless you're completely fact checking every single piece of detail. So no, I don't find this to be intriguing at all. And the storyline itself, I mean, for me, what I always felt, and it's something that's brought up in this, not this show, but I've heard in biography before, and it's kind of true. He was very close to my age, so I was living my own life. But whenever I felt I saw him or read about him, I always felt that he was trying to make his way. He hadn't come out to his own yet. He was still looking for something. Hence, trying to be an attorney. Hence, him starting George Magazine, which I do remember the Oprah interview. I do remember the first cover with it being Cindy Crawford being George Washington. And then I never remembered any other part of that magazine, even though it's being depicted on the show. I don't remember Demi Moore. I don't remember, there was somebody else on there that was on there. And I stopped following it. I didn't care. It wasn't interesting to me. I didn't even know he was with Madonna. And I'm very happy I didn't know. Now that I think about it, I'm kind of glad that I grew up in a generation that I had options, that I don't need to be in everybody's business every freaking 5 minutes. But the problem I have with this is that for people who are watching this now and they don't know about this, because a lot of people are watching this, they're not even alive when this happened. They may think that this is really true. And I don't believe a lot of it is. He was a womanizer, apparently. Is he here to defend himself? I don't know. That big fight in Central Park wasn't apparently the way it was supposed to be depicted in the movie. I keep saying movie, but it's a series. Apparently he was cheating on her. But we don't have a recording of it. We just have pictures of someone taking that and video of them fighting. It was a nasty fight. We don't know how it was in the office unless somebody comes out. And like I said, how many people are being truthful about their stories? Even if you have a friend that knows them and can say, oh, they were this and they were that, do I believe them? They're their friends. I hope my friends say nice things about me, but are you going to pay someone to say something bad? And are they even telling you the truth, even if they say something bad? I think that if this narrative came out maybe 15 years ago, before we were all so unaware of the possibilities of being deceived so greatly, it probably would have done for me a lot better. But for me now, when all we know now is fakery, BS, cloning, AI, you could make people say things that they weren't even around to say anymore. I don't know that this is something that I enjoy. I'm not enjoying this at all. And it's no reverence to Ryan Murphy Productions. First of all, I don't like it, but I may feel this way about other biographies. I may take a different stance on it when I revisit it. Now, I like documentaries that go through the chain of events and give the narrative of the chain of events, but they don't put in filler information of what they think somebody would have said or could have said or woulda, coulda, shoulda. That I do still enjoy without a doubt. Because you're not trying to manipulate me to believe something that happened that didn't happen, right? You're showing me what happened, the timeline. I love those type of biographies. But I don't think moving forward I can go back to unauthorized biographies anymore. And it could be my own personal opinion. Tell me how you feel about this. But overall, for me, it's not a very exciting show. It's just giving, you know what it is also? I could tell you this. This is what it's also, it just dawned on me. It's the same type of stuff. How can I put this? They show them getting up, they show them going out, they show them being filmed, they show them what is it, the photographers, and it's just, there's no, there's no change in how they make these biographies. It's just taking the events, recreating it. Now everybody wants to be Carolyn. They're all dressing like her or trying to dress like her. This is the new freaking thing that's there now. They all trying to wear the headband and trying to wear the minimalist and all this other crap. I'm like, first of all, get a life. Okay. Second of all, you're not going to be able to pull it off because we're not in the 90s. In case you didn't know that. Hello. It's okay to try to recreate something and make it updated, but people are really running around trying to look like her. Like they're changing the color of their hair and everything. I'm like, oh my God. These are the people in our neighborhoods, I'm like, for the love of God, stop. What happened to originality? Now, and what scares me the most is that this is the first milk of the cow. Because we've done milk the cow of Camelot. Now we're going to have the narrative of Love Story. And from what I'm understanding, and again, I'm only listening to various different types of scenarios, he didn't treat her well. He was a womanizer. And there's not a love story there. So why are we doing this? And for the love of God, stop pissing Daryl Hannah off. Stop it. That already alone, when that happened and she came out and she made that statement, I was like, I'm done. I'm done. I don't want to see this. I'm in episode 7 and I fell asleep. Yep. I fell asleep. I was like, oh God. I can't even watch them speaking to each other in their own apartment because I'm like, BS, 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 BS. You weren't there. I don't know if this was what really talked about, and you're making it up as a go. So I lost complete interest. I wish them well as far as they're trying to finish this series. I know that there's going to be more coming out because now we have a new generation to milk. And I don't know how much more out of this that people are going to get. I think this is a fad. I think people are going to get over it. It is a horrible tragedy. And it was horrible then. It's still horrible now to think about. But, you know, I don't know the end goal of this Ryan Murphy production. Like, why, what are you doing? What's going on? What's happening? Ryan, why are you doing this? To bring what to light? Because there's nothing in there that is, oh my God. No. He took pieces of the newspaper, pieces of the newsreel, slapped together some filler crap in the middle of it, found some actors who, by the way, do not look like them. I'm sorry. They don't. The actor playing John, yes, he has the hair and the side profile, but the eyes are completely wrong. I personally think that John looked more like Jackie than he did look like his father. She had striking deep eyes, and I think that that's something that's missing in this character. He has this good resemblance, but when I look at him and I look at him straight away, I'm like, no, that's not him. The Carolyn character, all she has of her is maybe this part and some side of the profile. Her eyes are completely wrong. They're not even the same color. Okay? And I'm sorry, but the acting is horrible between them. The chemistry, the reaction, the whining, him and the actress of Daryl Hannah is even, if you can believe it, is even worse. Because that actress is horrendous. And I can't. So already I'm turned off. So though I feel that there's going to be more from somebody else, maybe somebody that knows how to do an unauthorized biography, or at least have the people that are being depicted that are not gone part of the narrative, I would maybe watch it again. But I don't think I'm going to finish this series. I have zero interest in this. I followed John for who he was. in my controlled opportunity. I was a fan, but I was not a sycophant or a super fan. I was devastated when he passed away because I think that there was probably more to him than what met the eye. But it's very concerning when I see that he was, not a very nice person. But then again, who is these days? I'm not shocked of anybody anymore. Seriously, I'm waiting for everyone to be a piece of shit. Everyone that I've ever grew up with, anyone that I thought might have been a nice person, I'm expecting the shoe to drop. I'm at the point that I'm like, if you weren't a piece of shit, then you are a rarity. So, love story, whatever. Boring. Tell me how you felt. Are you watching this? Are you new to this story? Were you alive when this happened? Were you not alive and you're thinking that any of this? Like, give me your history on this and how are you feeling about it? I know that probably a lot of people in my generation are, if they're watching it, I hope that you make a comment and see if I'm on the right page, if this is hitting you. Are you just over all this unauthorized biography narrative crap that's being sent out there? And are you bored as I am? And did you even know it was on? Start there. So I hope I brought value to you. I'm sorry I cannot give you a, what is it, Rotten Tomato score. I don't care. My score is pass. I don't know if I'm going to finish it, but tell me if you're following it, if you're enjoying it, if you're not, if you're with me. Are you with me tonight? And if I brought value to you, I hope you are so inclined to join my community. I do other shows. I do other shows. I'm still getting into Sex and the City episode by episode, season by season. I recrapped the reboot of And Just Like Crap. It's all in my playlist. You can see it on my YouTube channel and in my, end title page if you're so inclined to get into that. And I have other vlogs that I'm getting into and I'm going to be doing other shows. So I hope that you enjoyed watching this and that you would love to stay with me. And for my beautiful people who have been commenting and sharing and posting and giving me the support, I cannot tell you how much I love you. I really can't. I can't. It would physically hurt you. You might be crushed from the love that I have for you. So I want to wish everyone a blessed day, a blessed night, a blessed weekend, a blessed week, a blessed month, a blessed year. And from here to around the world that I reach. Thank you, everyone. Goodbye.